to Charles Quincy's Love Chicago. Everybody make some noise. All right. Now, y'all a good audience. The last audience, I had to tell them a couple times, but I love them too. Welcome to Charles Quincy's Love Chicago. If you don't know, and this is your first time being here, Charles Quincy's Love Chicago is basically a talk show that highlights Chicagoans that's doing their thing. People who are pursuing their life's purpose, chasing their dreams, doing all of that. We're here to highlight Chicagoans and efforts of bringing positivity to the city. Our city is a beautiful city, and it's a great city, and it's one of the best cities in the world. It is the best city in the world. And so we getting a bad rep right now in times just with the different violence and things going on, but there is so much positivity that is going on. I just want to make sure that we continue to promote that and make our own headlines instead of people who are not from here making headlines for us. So today we celebrating that, we celebrating Chicago, we celebrating love, we celebrating Black excellence, we celebrating men who are doing their thing. So make some noise for that. Yeah. All right, so next up, we have this thing that we call the goal call. I don't know if you ever heard of a roll call. Roll call is like when you in class and you taking attendance, you say here, here, here. We got some Greeks in the building, so they probably say roll call and you do your fraternity or sorority call. But the go call is what side of the city are you from? So when you hear what side of the city that you're from, we basically need you to make some noise. Okay? Now, I happen to be from the best side of the city, so we're going to say the best for last, which is the west side. What? If you're from up north, make some noise. All right. We can always count on Brad to make noise for up north. All right, if you're from over east, make some noise. Okay. All right, if you're from out south, make some noise. Okay. All right. If you're from the burbs, make some noise. You gotta represent. You gotta represent all parts of Chicago, all the surrounding parts. Now, if you from the best side of the city, the west side, make some noise right now. Shout out to all my 290 folks in the building.
What does the city look like through your eyes? Which part are you from? What's your favorite sports team? What's your favorite food spot? When you live in a city with such a rich culture and talented people, it's really hard to choose. It doesn't matter if you from out west, out south, over east, up north, or from the burbs. One thing we all have in common is that we love Chicago.
In our Instagram bio, we said entering the lives of Chicagoans that we love. But today, we're going to enter the mind of men that are in Chicago, that got their boots to the ground, no pun intended, the men in Chicago that are doing the work in the community and doing all of these different things. So we're going to enter the mind of Black men in Chicago. I want us to support them, listen to them, encouraging them. And this is basically a space, a safe space. I'm really big on creating safe space, especially for young Black men, because we don't always have that space to share. We think we got to tough it out all the time, or that we can't talk about the issues and different things that we got going on in our lives. So if anything, I always want Love Chicago, in addition to Black men, to just be a safe space for us to discuss those issues around family, around love, and around people that are supporting us. All right. So without further ado, I'm about to bring up our first guest, who is Malcolm Fox. Everybody make some noise for Malcolm Fox. All right, so Malcolm Fox, he is the Chief Relationship Officer of Gratitude Chicago. And Gratitude, we're gonna talk about it later, but Gratitude Chicago is just a clothing brand that's passionate about giving gratitude, showing gratitude in every single thing you do, and doing it through fashion. I don't know if y'all got a chance to see them pieces in the back, but them pieces is hard. So if y'all didn't get a chance, make sure you guys follow him on Instagram, follow Gratitude Chicago on social media so that you guys can do that. So one thing that I always like to do, we always talk about what people do, but it's really important to talk about who they are. So Malcolm, to get us started, I want us, if you had to give an elevator pitch on yourself, tell us who is Malcolm Fox.
First of all, how y'all doing? Excited to be here. Thankful for this opportunity and this platform. But Malcolm Fox is a businessman, a serial entrepreneur, and a community advocate that's looking to change not only my city for the better, but my world.
Excellent, excellent. And we like our audience to interact. Feel free to make some noise. Feel free to snap. If you feel like you hear something that resonates, you do that. We like our audience to interact. So that's excellent. Thank you for sharing that. Chief Relationship Officer. You are the Chief Relationship Officer for Gratitude Chicago. What is a Chief Relationship Officer? What is that person do?
I'm a people person, so anything that comes with dealing with the people with my brand, I got my hands all over it. Gratitude Chicago is a streetwear brand that uses fashion as well as our platform to emphasize the importance of showing gratitude in your everyday life. And we do that not only through the clothes we create, but the spaces we create, the content that we push on our social media, the hands that we have within the community of our neighborhoods and surrounding places in Chicago. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Excellent, excellent. That's my brother. Right. So, out of all of the qualities that you could pick, why was gratitude one of the ones that you guys picked?
I think that's who I am as a person. I pride myself not on the wins that I create for myself, but the wins I create for others that are surrounding me. And gratitude, I think, when you implement that into your daily practices, it just changes your life for the better. When you're grateful for where you are, and regardless of how hard it is, or how difficult, or how amazing it is, it only leads to better things coming.
Excellent. And I'm sorry, I'll be remiss if we didn't acknowledge this. I want you to talk a little bit about how gratitude started, because I see you brought your family with you all today. Your family is leaving. If you know me, one thing I love is family. Because family, without family, you can't do anything. So tell us a little bit about how gratitude started.
So Gratitude Chicago is not only me. It's myself, my best friend DJ, as well as my older brother Nick. And one day we just came together with all brothers of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. That's what connected us to begin with. And we just came together looking for a vehicle of change. How can we change our city? We like to get fresh. We like to say we fresh. So it was the Gratitude doing it as a clothing brand was just a perfect outlet. And that was the way we thought we could connect with the youth, connect with our people, and touch our people in the best way.
Excellent, excellent. Now, so I just want y'all to know 1911 is in the building, because I'm the first half of 1911, and the second half of 1911 is in the building, but it's all love, because when 1911 come together, it's always a party. So, just wanted to say that. So, let's talk a little bit more about what you do outside of Gratitude Chicago. I've been stalking your social media for about 2 weeks now. Tell us some of the other things that you do besides gratitude.
So I work at a 9 to 5 at McDonald's headquarters in West Loop of Chicago. In addition to that, I work with my father, who's back there, my best friend. I work with his private investigators and security services company. And then I got a multitude of other things going on. But really, if I could say one thing, what do I do outside of gratitude? One thing I do, I just try to change my community. I just try to change my people. I think I got a very happy way going of life, and I like to spread that on other people and do my best to use my blessings, my opportunities, my knowledge, my experiences to make sure that the person that come after me don't let them make the same mistakes that I did.
So I see you, all right. I see you recently did a youth summit. Tell us about that.
So I spoke to 500 kids in Omaha, Nebraska, my first time in Omaha, Nebraska. But just spoke to them about the importance of branding yourself and how every action got a reaction, and you got to be intentional with every single action, regardless of what it is, especially at a young age. So once again, just using my experience, my walk through life to help shape those who come after me.
So one thing that you mentioned a lot, and when we talked before the show, you mentioned is your community. What is something that you feel the Chicago community needs right now?
Bridge building. I was just talking to my fraternity brother in the back, Mr. Davis, and it's so important when you achieve some type of success, and blessings that you use it to put the next person in position. Like, everybody should be winning. Like, it's no reason to be greedy. It's no reason to be ignorant. There's no reason to be too hungry. Like, don't take no food off the next person's plate. And I think that's who I am as a person. That's the characteristics that I try to push on my people, try to push on the youth, and just try to spread.
Excellent. So what has, being a man, being a black man specifically, comes with a lot of pressures and a lot of things. So as you're trying to do all of these great things, what have been some of the pressures that you've had to face, just as a young man?
Having to force a smile when you're not always smiling and not always happy. I think that's the most difficult part, especially being as though I have a brand called Gratitude Chicago. So a lot of times people often expect that everything is just good to go, and real people don't have real feelings and real emotions. So I think having to force a smile when you don't need to have a smile, and then also just opportunity. The lack of opportunity that exists in our community, especially in the black community, is tremendous. And that's why I go back to saying when we got platforms, we got different successes that we achieved. That's why it's so important for us as black men, and not only as black men, but we 24, 25 years old. When we're able to do it at this age and go touch our community, touch our hoods, it hits different from them when it's somebody that looks like their parents, when it's somebody that's an older person. It just hits different when we go back as peers and as people who they can actually connect with and look like and see themselves in their shoes. So,
I think that's something that's so important. I think one thing that you're really touching on is basically breaking barriers and making sure that we don't have to repeat generational curses, which is something that, we do. It's kind of hard. Like I feel like sometimes as black people, we always playing catch up, but we really should be working hard to take people under our wing and create the next level or next space for them so they don't have to face the same obstacles that we did as well. So I really appreciate you for sharing that. What type of support do you think specifically do you think young black men will need in pursuing those passions that you mentioned?
I say there's many things. One is the resources. And it's exposure. I'm a huge believer in the fact that exposure leads to opportunity. So many of our youth don't understand how big the world is outside of Chicago. A lot of youth in our city think that going downtown is a vacation.
Right.
And that's exposure. Like I said, when you show a kid how much they can do, what they can do, and not only show them what they can do, but also give them the feeling and the courage to step out of their comfortable zone to do it, it's nothing that you can take from them. So I would say exposure for sure.
Excellent. And I think this is the perfect segue into sort of my next question. Tell us about the Project Gratitude Scholarship.
So Project Gratitude Scholarship Fund is a scholarship fund that's in its second year, started by Gratitude Chicago as well as our friends over at Project Love Chicago, which is a nonprofit in the city. And basically what we do is we give scholarships to African American graduating seniors from Chicago public high schools. So last year was our first year doing it. Glory be to God, and only because of God we were able to give out $1,200-$2,500 scholarships. This year the goal is to give out $2,000 scholarships. So double our impact, double down on the city, and we just not only give out money, but we connect with the kids. Because I think it's one thing to put money in the kids' hands, but it's one thing to put money in the kids' hands and help them take advantage of it and help them make sure that they utilize it into what they need to utilize it for.
That's right.
So.
Excellent. So I know you guys gave out the scholarship last year. Have you guys interacted with some of the kids who went to college after that?
One of the kids, we all take a kid as a mentor. We got a big board of individuals that help us put the scholarship off. It's 3 of us from Gratitude, it's 3 from Project Love, and then we have an additional 10 that help us out. But that's the number one thing. Like I said, is it's one thing to put money in the kid's hand, but it's one thing to put money in the kid's hand and then keep texting them, keep reaching out, making sure their school is going good, their semester is going good. If they're struggling, I actually had a situation with one of the scholarships that we gave out, which was a student from Phillips High School, and she keeps in contact with me. We talk on a consistent basis. She ended up reaching out, letting me know that she was in delinquent status with her financial, with school because of finances. And me just sharing the story with one of my employees at work, one of my colleagues at work. My colleague at work wanted to pay her balance down this year. So just little things like that, just making sure you're present, making sure you're there, because sometimes you never know what a kid going through, you never know what their support going to look like. So I think the one thing about Project Gratitude that separates us from scholarship funds is just, or other scholarship funds, is the impact, not only the impact, but the involvement we have with these kids. Like, we want to get these kids an experience to where when they leave, they coming back looking for reasons or ways they can help the next Project Gratitude scholar.
I think that's one of the beautiful things you said, is just how you support the child or the scholar after you giving them the financial donation, because you really don't understand like the impact that you have. I want to applaud you for that, because every single thing matters to that young man. Like, I just had a parent reach out to me and said, I just want to thank you because his father wasn't in one of the school. I work in school, by the way. Sorry, some of my coworkers and some of the people I went to school with are in the building today. And one of the parents said, yeah, his father wasn't in his life, and that's really sort of just benefited him, and I've seen a change. So I just want to say thank you for what you're doing for the youth, because what you're doing is making a huge impact in their life, like really shaping. Like, it could be the smallest thing that you're saying, and it's going to turn their whole life around. And we really just need more people who like you in our community. So just thank you. Go ahead. All that and being only 24 years old, right? You just had a birthday. Are you Aquarius?
I'm Aquarius, yeah.
We both Aquarius and we both the same age. You know, it can't get no better than that. Excellent. So, just moving. I have a question for you, because I know we always, again, talking about what we do. Where do you want to see yourself in the future, in years to come?
I don't really have a specific place I want to see myself. I just pride myself in ground myself in one thing. When I leave, I don't want to leave. I want my legacy to be that much bigger than me. That when I'm gone, it's 100 people, but 100,000 kids, students striving because of me. Youth. I don't really have a specific place that I want to be at. I just want to be a change leader for my community. I want to be that person that put a smile on the kid's face, that person that let a kid know to chase their dreams 100 times harder. That's all I care about, for real.
And bro, you're definitely doing that. Those seeds that you like planting in those kids, they're gonna want to do it to help other kids when they get older, because they watch you do it for them. So I just want to applaud you for that. And also, this QR code right here, that is the link to donate to the Project Gratitude Scholarship. So if you want to donate to the scholarship, they go to the link right there. You can donate directly. We got to help them reach that 50K. But I just want to say thank you so much for your time today, bro. I appreciate you, man. All right. Wasn't that great, y'all? Yeah. Give Malcolm another round of applause. Just in case you might have to, Malcolm might have to leave out early, we got something for you back there, so thank you. My mom got it back for you. Appreciate you, bro. All right. Again, if you guys want to get that QR code, even if you don't want to donate now, that QR code is up there, okay? All right, so next up, we have our next guest, which is Mr. Eric Davis. Eric Davis, it's something about when you talk to somebody and their presence just leaps onto you. And you guys are about to see in a second when we talk to Mr. Davis how much he's just You can tell when somebody's lived it and when they faking it. And he's just a real man that's really in the community and doing what he's supposed to. He's also a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. So everybody, welcome Mr. Davis from the Bay Chicago. Thank you, Charles. All right, no problem, no problem. Again, we can always talk about what people do, but it's really we're gonna dive in kind of deep early into yours, and I apologize for that. But we can always talk about what people do, but it's really who they are. I kind of want you to tell us just about who you are. Who is Eric Davis?
You know, being 60 years old, you know, I'm a lot of things. You know, I'm a husband, and I believe I have the best wife in the world.
Okay.
You know, I'm a grandfather, and a father, and a friend, and a friend. My friends know what I'm saying.
Right.
And you know, I have a family that I'm very fortunate to know a little bit about the history. You know, Henry Gibson, I talk about him all the time, not only to my kids, but to my kids at the base, and that's 300 of them. I talk about Hattie Hightower, and those are my great-grandparents. Henry Gibson was born a slave. So this isn't you reading this in a book. This is me telling you about my great-grandfather. The most valuable article we have in our home is a picture of my great-grandfather holding my mother, his granddaughter. And he was born a slave. Hattie was married to a slave. And I have pictures sitting on her lap being kissed by her. And my family, myself and my younger brother, were the first two born up north. The rest of us are from down south. And I remember as a young man asking my father, what you want to be when you were my age? And you know what my pops told me? We didn't waste our time thinking about silly stuff like that.
Wow.
My father, who's still alive at 96 years old.
All right. Man.
You know, I speak to my mother, who's still alive at 91 years old.
Wow.
And Black History Month is important. Juneteenth is important.
Yes.
But I get that 365 in the crib.
Yes.
So, what's my motivation to do what I do every day? I wonder what Henry Gibson wanted to be. I wonder what Hattie Hightower wanted to be. I wonder what my mother and father wanted to be. Because they arrived in Chicago with 6 years of education combined. Because the Ku Klux Klan would run them off the road. I'm not talking about my grandma. I'm talking about my mom and my dad. And when my mama got here and my daddy got here, the goal for our family was that we would all get high school diplomas. Doesn't seem like a big goal, but it surely is when your family wasn't allowed to get an education. So what do I stress with youngsters? Education. But what do I really stress? Do you know what 60-year-old Eric thinks? I'm still a kid. You know what I've done in this lifetime? Close your eyes, go back to being 8 years old. What you want to be when you were 8 years old? Believe you me, I tried to be all those things. And I tried to be all those things not for me. For my Aunt Madge, Aunt Audrey, for my mama, for Henry Gibson, for all of those that had to be in the cotton fields and got no choice. It's for me to try to reach those goals and make a segue for other young brothers and sisters who don't know they're Henry Gibson and Hattie Hightower and Adele Davis and Bill Davis. So what's my job? What I'm doing. I'm hustling hard for the community.
That's right.
What I tell you? What I tell you? We talked a little bit more about your career before the base. And y'all, we gonna get to the base, but we gotta start here first. Tell us about what you did before you became to the base.
Everything. I did everything. I was an All-American high school football player and basketball player. I was a vice lord.
Okay.
Got shot when I was 13 in 1974.
Wow.
The best thing that ever happened in my life. It took me almost losing my life to realize I wanted my life.
Yeah.
That day, my boys who said, we got your back, I love you, I'll always be there for you. I didn't start what happened. It gets hot, shots get fired, I get hit, and they leave me. Now I'm gonna be a one-man gang. I roll by myself. And I tell that lesson because young boys don't need to keep getting shot.
Right.
Who's getting shot in 2023 when I got shot in 74? Hey, here go a gift. It hurts, your mama gonna cry, and as soon as you get well, she gonna beat your behind. Because I'm gonna tell you, what I said when I got shot laying on the floor, because my mama told me about hanging with these guys, being out here on the corner, and you know what? And I wasn't really on the corner, but you're kind of forced to be out there as a young man. And when we came from down south, it was just us. And folks picked on us, country accents. They go and get an army of brothers. You know, it's 9 of them. And I decided one day, you know what? Whoever said something to my sisters, because they were fine. I had 9 sisters. And you know what? Guys thought they could say what they wanted. And I said, you know what? That is today. Every time you say something disrespectful, I ain't even gonna talk, I'm just gonna punch. And you know what? Now you get a tough reputation. Now the gangs come to you and say, hey, why don't you roll with us? That's how I got caught up. That's how I got caught up. Really to try to help my family. If me being in this helps keep everybody else up off of them, that's what I'll do. But getting shot and seeing my mother cry, but really what shocked me, I saw the toughest man in the world cry. My dad. I had never seen him cry. And when he cried, I said, no, I can't put them in a position like this again. And that's why I share with other guys. Yeah, use my bullets. Don't go get your own. Because your mom and daddy gonna feel the same way. And I still sadly see mamas and daddies feeling the same way.
Right.
So after that, I got involved in athletics, fortunate enough to get scholarship offers, went down to school at the University of Houston, where I played basketball and football. I played for a team. I'm looking at most of the faces in here, y'all too young to know. I played for this team called Phi Slama Jama. My roommate in college was Hakeem Olajuwon, and Clyde Drexler was my teammate, and Michael Young and Cadillac Anderson. And what was so slick about this team is like we play in the park in Chicago and New York. We had a coach down in Texas that said, I ain't got no plays, I ain't gonna tell y'all what to do what you do. And that's what we did. And it actually started the trend that you see in the NBA now. Fortunate to graduate, and that was important because that's the first college graduation in my family. I told you, we were just trying to get high school diplomas. Fortunate to get my very first job playing in the NFL for the Houston Oilers. Did that already in the city that I went to college in. Playing in the NFL, playing in the NBA. Don't let nobody tell you different. It's a monster. It's a job you want to keep, but it's hard to keep. And after getting cut, after a year, I went and played professional basketball in Europe. I played in Ireland a year. I played in London for a year. I then came back to Chicago and became a Chicago police officer. So became a Chicago police officer. I got the Award of Valor for shooting someone that was getting ready to kill a police officer. And they allowed me to pick where I wanted to go work. So I decided to go back and work in the neighborhood that welcomed me and my family when we got to Chicago. And that was Cabrini Green. And not the police, but to get out of the car and say, what's up, y'all? And they said, what's up, Ed? Actually, they call me 21. What's up, 21? You. Because you know what I want them to see? If nothing else, I know I can be the police. If nothing else, because I'm there every day and willing to show them. And when I was there, I saw that the gangs had become very organized and really moved from gangs to organized crime. Yeah. And I decided then, we're going to do something. And we decided that we were going to start a baseball program. And I got to back up a little bit because I told Charles we had got a bunch of money because I told you I'll try anything. Still, today, at 60. We created a TV show. And some of you all might not remember, it was called New York Undercover.
Yes!
Not all of us remember.
So my partner and I created New York Undercover, and we had the money, and there were two sisters that were strong sisters, Pat Hill and Marion Stamps. And they said, what are you boys going to do with all that money? And I'm going to tell you what we was going to do. Be on Rush Street, be at the Cotton Club, trying to invest in young, pretty co-eds. Let me help you with your, I'm going to be like Malcolm. I want to give out scholarships. Malcolm's scholarships are pure and more sincere. and Pat Hill and Marion Stamps then sat us down like big sisters and said, you all got to get back. You got to get back. And the first thing they made us do with our money is they said, they're getting ready to have the Millionaire March. And there are men that can't go because they can't afford to get there. And I'm looking, I'm like, okay. And I'm hearing the story, and I'm trying to show Pat, yeah, that's too bad. They're like, no. There's a solution in it. We need you to pay for the bus to get them down there. Oh, okay. That ain't no problem. Come back 2 days later, they said, we filled that bus, we need you to pay for another bus. I said, okay, no problem. And we need you to be on the bus. I said, we can't do that. Because at that same time, a gentleman, God rest his soul, and a great mentor, Jim Brown, who runs America I Can, calls us up and says, hey, can you guys come out to LA and talk to the Crips and the Bloods? I'm like, no. Why would I go talk to the Crips and the Bloods? And he said, well, the GD said, you and your partner are good brothers. And they said that because in 1990, we helped set up the peace treaty in Chicago after Dantrell Davis got killed in Cabrini Green with Pat Hill and Marion Stamps. And they wanted to do the same thing in LA. Why they thought we could do that in LA, I have no idea. But when Mr. Brown calls you, he is probably one of the dopest human beings I've ever met in my life. You go. And we go there and we meet Rockhead from the Compton Crips. All these guys that I saw on TV remember the box? So they play the videos on the box. And you saw all them Crips with Snoop and all them. I'm meeting all of these guys and they're real. And we're gonna go to Nickerson Gardens. And we just talked about being responsible black men. Responsible. We didn't even talk about gangbanging, we talked about being good sons, good fathers. Because if you're talking about those things, that already says don't kill each other. And now we're in a city that what's happening in Chicago right now, Charles, is so important that we need to have numerous conversations with our young men.
Right.
And some of that has to come from men.
Yes.
Right.
Actually, a lot of it has to come from men.
Yes.
And we have to lead by example and not just words.
Yes.
So, that's some of the stuff. I could probably talk an hour about some other crazy stuff. But just to give you an idea, so became the police. Right? We started a Little League program. I was just starting for Cabrini Green because Cabrini ain't the projects. That's my neighborhood. Miss Washington calls me up from Robert Taylor and says, hey, I heard you're going to have a baseball program in the green. I said, I am. She said, well, you're going to have to start that at Robert Taylor too. I said, did I tell you, it's my money, Miss Washington. Miss Washington didn't even hear me. She got on the phone and then called Stateway and said that Stateway needs the program too. I said, it's my money. Left out of there mad, lips tight. Meanwhile, starting the baseball program in 3 housing developments.
Yes.
And we started this program. So then what happened is that Jerry Reinsdorf, and I can't not say his name enough. He said, hey, Eric, who sponsored the Little League program? And I'm salty. We did. He said, who is we? And I'm like, Jimmy and I. And he started laughing. He says, listen, next year, we're going to sponsor the White Sox. Every team on the South Side. So when you don't know, sometimes we say they're not doing enough, but he low-key is doing a lot. And he said, why don't you guys reach out to the Cubs? I'm like, you need to reach out to the Cubs. And he did. And the Cubs took care of all the teams on the north side and the west side. And the real reason we started this Little League program, and I love sports, baseball in particular, I love the most. But this is why we started. In the summertime, kids were working for the GDs and the MCs as lookouts. And at the end of the day, they would get them some juice, a honey bun, chips. So for 8 weeks, this is how these babies are eating. And I said, no, we're going to be better than this. So we had baseball practice and games 5 days a week, either one or the other. When they got to practice, we gave them a sack lunch. And they'd eat the sack lunch. At the end of practice, we'd give them another sack lunch. And what made me cry every day is they would never eat that second sack lunch. They would take that sack lunch home to their little brothers and sisters. And that was real. That was real. That's when I was really hooked. Because being black, you think you know. But unless you're close to the fire, you can't really feel the heat. And grown up in the neighborhood, left the neighborhood, came back, but I had to get back close to see it. And on the west side now, I'm close to it every day. Because I'm being educated every day by young folks just like you. And I'm the guy that can get into rooms that you all can't. So all I'm doing is advocating and taking your direct story to folks that can make change.
I think it's just beautiful, sort of how God sets you up in life beforehand, because experience all of that as a young man. Fast forward to now, and you working with youth who are around the same age when you experience the things that happen to you, and now you're doing so much to open these opportunities for these young athletes at the Bay Chicago. The Bay Chicago is a program whose mission is to develop not only athletes, but develop athletes with strong character as people. And so I want to know, can I be a part of the base? Because the base students, they get to do so much. We about to show it in a second. They have been on Disney Plus on a show called Renovations. They got to meet Michael B. Jordan. Now, I'm real jealous because I feel like Michael B. Jordan is my mentor, and I haven't met him. And I keep saying that I'm going to have a Michael B. Jordan body by the time I get married to my fiance. So, I mean, these kids are just exposed to a lot of different things, and it's not about that, but just being in the presence with them. I want to talk about Renovations really quickly. And Renovations is a talk show. Jeremy Renner, raise your hand if you're a Avengers fan, Marvel fan, right? Jeremy Renner is Hawkeye, Hawkeye from the Avengers. And so he, I'm gonna just play the video. He had this amazing concept, and we'll talk about it. Why I think it's so important to just share that is I really want you guys to go, if you got Disney Plus, to go watch. It was an episode just solely dedicated to the bass. And basically Jeremy Renner created this bus that was dedicated to music. The bus, I'm not gonna tell y'all too much because I want y'all to watch it yourself. But it's a music bus and it has a recording studio, instruments, and all of that in it. So I guess my question is, how have the kids responded to receiving that bus?
Just 3 weeks ago, we were out in Hollywood. So we took 20 of the kids out there. We took 20 of the kids that are going to college and took them to the red carpet of the show. But more importantly, what we do at the base is it's a after-school athletic and academic program. You know, we say that we're open from 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock, but we're actually opened up 6 years ago and never really closed. When they call, when they want to be there, we allow them to be there. And what we do is, to participate in athletic programming, you have to be tutored. And you also have to provide time to do community service. Because part of the problem in our community is we've grown up and been trained to be recipients. And we can't be recipients from the federal government, city government. We just want to earn ourselves. And we'll spread out wealth and we'll spread out charity to ourselves. We don't need to be a recipient that doesn't know how to give back. So early on, we want to teach our kids how to become givers, how to look back. You got help, help someone else up. And our kids are doing that. They're taking leadership on many projects that we execute, not only in West Garfield Park, but on the west side. What I try to do is I try to be the guardrails to put some creative thought behind what they do, but they're the bosses. I mean, we did this with Disney, and now Disney's talking about us having our own TV show. And that's not me. They're the talent. And so what's going on with the bus? Black kids with music? You know what's going on with the bus. You know that in 2 or 3 years there's going to be a kid that's on TV that says, yeah, I started off on this bus. Because they're talented like that. It is a music studio like many of you have never been in. You might have been in a studio in a building. This bus has everything. And as a matter of fact, we're going to have a few events at the base. Follow us on social media, the base Chicago. And what we do still really, really well on the west side, we have great barbecues. So we had a barbecue, we had a bus, we had people, and you're more than welcome to come out because you're family. You know? And then you can see what the bus does. You can see what our kids do. And you know what? That's how we collaborate. Because I'll tell you what, Malcolm Fox, more than being my frat brother, which is big. Don't be mistaken like that. But more than that, I just love when young men take the forefront and step in front and want to make the change. You know, I want to help create young people at the base that want to be him. Because if they're him, then I can really do what I want to do. And I told you what I want to do. I got a house in Panama, right across from the ocean. I want to get up every morning and smoke cigars. Maybe I go to the gym, maybe I don't. But that's my future. That's my future, and I hope to have a young person in position to take the leadership role from me, because part of the problem in this city in particular is we as old folks sit too long. We want to hold the reins too long, when my true value is, can you get me in that door? When my true value is, can you help us fundraise? When my true value is to be on the board, to give you direction, I don't need to be the leader. Matter of fact, I don't want to be the leader. And really what our goal is, Frank Brim and myself, you know, I was a police officer for 27 years and Frank was a firefighter, retired as a captain for 30 years. And Frank and I say every day, if we get lucky enough, if we get fortunate enough, we're going to put ourselves out of business. But I have a plan within a year that I'm going to fire Frank and I'm going to quit. And we're going to put some young people in that spot. But what we're going to do is whoever takes those 2 spots, those people are going to be in such a great position for this to continue to be successful. But it won't bother me when it's not needed any longer, the services that we provide.
Excellent, excellent. And I want to go back a little bit. I know we're backtracking. But it's just so much power. I feel like we can pull so much from each topic that we discuss. One of the reasons why, when I was thinking about this show and planning the show, I was thinking about the violence in our city and how we sort of combat that. And I know programs like the Base sort of do that. Recently, I've had a couple experiences where I was in the crossfire of someone being shot at. And so that's something that I've been struggling to recover from for a while now. And it's really had like a mental toll on me. And this is just being in the crossfire. So imagine only actually being shot. How do you recover as a young man from that? Because we have people that are watching, there's young kids that watch this show who experience this stuff and are around people who are in this life. How do you recover from something like that mentally throughout time?
Well, I think there's a culture that we have to change in this city. And sisters could help me immediately. If I could get all the sisters on one page and say, hey, don't kick it with cats that's carrying pistols and out here on that craziness. Because you know why they do it? To impress them. You know why they hustle? To impress them. Tell them no matter how much hustle, no matter how many guns you carry, I ain't gonna kick it with you. They'll figure out, well, what is it that I need to do? Please tell them to go to HBCUs.
Yes!
Tell them that. Get an education. Because that's what's going to sustain us in the future. But the truth of the matter is, when you talk about mental health, we've been struggling with PTSD generations.
Right.
This isn't new. Do you know what? Last year in Chicago, there were approximately 500 murders. When I was a police officer in the 80s and 90s, there were 1,000 murders. So in actuality, the city is actually better. But here's the issue. We carry these phones around. You got murder apps. Every time there's a shooting, it pops up on your phone.
Right.
It's just too much coming in all the time. And the news, they're not even the news anymore, Charles. They get 5 rings of something violent, put it on, and between it they have a toilet paper commercial, and you watch about 6 of these videos of craziness, and then you get on your phone and say, girl, you see this? What's going on in your neighborhood? And you know what? So we inundate ourselves with that nonsense. And that's the beauty of a show like this. Because you know what? You have to give your brain a break.
That's right.
You have to know. And this is proof, because now if you don't have a picture, you don't have a video, it didn't happen. Now you're showing, no, there are positive things going on. And in particularly with young black men and young black women.
Yes.
We can no longer let anyone, I say this again, anyone tell our narrative but us.
That's right.
Because if you allow folks to tell our narrative, it's going to be horrendous. It's going to be horrendous. And that's what's historically happened to us. That we're criminal, that we're dangerous, that we're loud, that we're uneducated, that we're poor, that we don't want anything. That's not us. But that's the narrative that was painted with great intention. And who did it? Media. And the beauty of social media and the beauty of this type of media is we get to control our own narrative. So that's why on a Saturday, when you know as soon as I leave here, as soon as I leave, I'm going to my birthday party. You get a certain amount of them, you don't really care, but I care about the party part of it.
Yes.
But you know what? That's why today I was like, no. I'm going to be there no matter what.
Yes.
Because I have to help tell the other story that really is the rule. All that nonsense is the exception. The goodness in our community is the actual rule, Charles. And it's what most of us see all the time.
Wow. Thank you so much for coming out today. I appreciate you so much. I'm glad I didn't have to do a lot of talking. I just had to do a lot of listening. And I think it's important that as young black men and as older black men that we just have these spaces where we can converse. Because we don't have that. And sometimes we just need to listen because we think we got all the answers because we got TikTok and we can look up everything. But sometimes we just need to listen to actual wisdom that comes from people who are in the community and people who have been in places doing good things and who are good people like you. So I'm grateful for you for just having this conversation. So thank you. Thank you. I was mentioning this, I was talking to Kelsey, and I was just telling her, I feel that it's almost like we owe our young black men to do this, like to be able to go back and reach towards them and to help them in any way that we can. So I'm just grateful for Mr. Davis and for Malcolm for taking time to be here today. And so I just hope the young men in the building that you guys really like benefited from that, because this was really for y'all. I had this open to everybody because we need to support from our black sisters. Like we need that support and I have them understand some of the things that we go through mentally every single day. So I think, you all, I hope you guys benefited from that somewhat. So, next slide. Okay. So each episode, we always do neighborhood heroes. On the first story, not the first story, on the last story, the live audience, it was my mom. She was the neighborhood hero. And I boo-hooed and I cried because I'm just grateful for my mom and all that she does. But this story, we talked to Malcolm, we talked to Mr. Davis, we heard them. I think I would be remiss if we just didn't make them the neighborhood heroes for this story. So give them a round of applause for them. We already gave them their gifts because, they got to run. And just to come on your birthday, I'm grateful for that. So, thanks. So, again, all of this is just so we can enter the minds of not young, but just black men in general and figure out how we can support them. We need support now more than ever. It's not that many of us. And the ones that are here, we kind of got to what you doing, boy? We got to basically help each other in the best way we can. So that's why I'm always going to try to surround us around people, to bring people on the show that's going to help sharpen the iron of black people in general. Because we just got to keep getting better and keep doing better like we're already doing. So I gotta give my flowers to all the people that support, love Chicago, and that do their thing. So first, I have to start with my fiance, Kelsey. On the last story, she was my girlfriend, now she's my fiance. Kelsey is just so supportive, in the essence, I couldn't do anything if it wasn't for her. I could do it, but she makes it easier. Just being there, listening to me, having a conversation with me, telling me what's wrong, what's right, telling me to chill out, because I be stressing out about stuff that's not that important. But I'm just grateful for her. She did more running than I did today just to help this, so thank you, Kelsey. I gotta give a shout out to my mother. This is a simple setup. This is a different, in the space, but we're grateful for this space. She does her thing, setting up for events, not only here, but at our school, and really just giving her all. And she's always there for me, period. I don't gotta say nothing, so I'm just grateful for my mom. Simple setup. Make sure y'all get out of her if y'all want to book her. Set up your events or something like that. Thank you, Mom. Richard, right here. Ish, right here. And Matthew, who's not present. They are my producers, co-workers, setup crew, friends. They help me with all of this. And these are just us, being young black men. It's not always about the money. It's not always about the money. Sometimes you just gotta give your time, and they helping me learn that I don't always gotta look for to give somebody some money. It's all love, and that's something that they always reiterate to me is that this is love. So I'm grateful to have these brothers, my brothers, help me. So I appreciate you all. Shout out to Teddy S from Iron Chicago. So we had our first live audience viewing at his space, and we did a little something different this time. But then I asked him, I'm like, I need some audio because this space don't have audio, but Teddy's space got it all hooked up, everything you need. But I'm saying I need somebody to do an audio. He said, hey, whatever you need, I'm gonna come. And him and his wife have just been supportive of Love Chicago and everything, and just keeping up with us, and even shouting us out. So thank you so much, Teddy, for all that you do. Is Adam here? Where's Adam? Well, Adam is my brother. All these Love Chicago shirts y'all see, he made those at home. He made me a new one before I got here today. So thank you, Adam, for all you do. He's also one of the board of directors for Love Chicago and just a thought partner in making sure that I'm being me and that Love Chicago is doing what it's supposed to. So thank you, Adam. Who am I missing? I feel like I'm missing. Oh, Ariana, who had those wonderful drinks here. Man, you gotta watch Ariana. She can make the drinks feel like they're not even drinks. But I just thank you for her always showing up and doing her thing. And I just appreciate everybody. We usually get our food from somewhere from the west side. That is a west side place, Submarine. Tend to check it out. Make sure you guys support. We support everything out west because out west is the best side of the city. But last but not least, most importantly, you all. I'm so grateful for y'all to even pull up for me. Like, that really means a lot. We had some different faces last time, but y'all just being here, I couldn't do nothing if it literally wasn't without y'all. So thank y'all for supporting me. Thank you for following me on Instagram. Thank you for all the shares. Thank you for telling your friends about it. Thank you for bringing friends. Friends of mine bringing new friends. So I'm just grateful for all of you all. Please stay involved, stay in touch. This is our family. I don't forget faces, so we just gonna keep growing together. And I'm excited to see what Love Chicago will continue to do. All right, and for the closing. Doesn't matter if you from out west, out south, up north, over east, or from the burbs. One thing we all have in common is that we love Chicago. Peace.
Reese on the beat.